Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we plunge into your sources to unearth the most fascinating nuggets of knowledge. Today we're diving into Jane Austen's Emma. We're looking at excerpts that really reveal a world where what you think you see, well, it's often miles away from what's truly there.
That's a great way to put it.
You've given us these rich selections, and our mission is to peel back the layers of polite society, to understand not just what's happening, but why it consistently goes so wonderfully, dramatically wrong for our heroine.
Right.
Have you ever been absolutely convinced you had a situation perfectly figured out, only to discover your entire perspective was built on, well, shifting sand? This deep dive is for you.
It really is. And Austen, through these pages, she doesn't just show us that Emma is self-deceived, but how intricately she builds her own reality, brick by misguided brick.
Oh, okay.
We're going to unpack the subtle psychological cues Austen embeds, the things that reveal the true motivations beneath all that polite social maneuvering. It's a masterclass in misperception, really, both self-inflicted and, well, otherwise.
And what happens when those grand designs just crash into unexpected truths?
Exactly.
That distinction, how she builds her reality, that feels key here. Let's start at the very beginning of these sources then. There's this significant void opening up in Emma Woodhouse's life.
Miss Taylor's marriage.
Exactly. Her beloved governess, Miss Taylor, has just married Mr. Weston. And this event, it's surprisingly viewed with dismay by Emma's change-averse father, Mr. Woodhouse.
He hates change of any kind.
Totally. The sources describe him finding matrimony always disagreeable, even mourning poor Miss Taylor and wishing she'd stayed at Hartfield forever. It really leaves Emma in this position of, well, unchallenged influence.
And this void creates a unique dynamic, doesn't it? Emma is described as first in consequence in Highbury. She looks up to no one. She really doesn't have equals in her immediate circle.
Right, her sister's away in London.
Precisely. It narrows her close companionship dramatically. And this melancholy change, especially the prospect of long evenings without Miss Taylor, it seems to nudge Emma toward finding new ways to occupy her considerable energy and her influence.
And occupy it she does, almost immediately. She dives right into the role of matchmaker.
Oh, yes.
She's incredibly proud of having made the match between this Taylor and Mr. Weston 4 years earlier. She declares that its success may comfort me for anything. She genuinely believes she engineered this whole thing.
But this raises a crucial point about what Emma actually considers matchmaking. Because Mr. Knightley, who's often the voice of, let's say, blunt truth in her life,
Definitely blunt.
he challenges this directly. He tells her, success supposes endeavor. Where is your merit? What are you proud of? You made a lucky guess.
Ouch.
Yeah. Knightley essentially just strips away her self-congratulations. He's suggesting her making the match was, little more than an idle wish or maybe an observation, not actual effort. It's a telling early insight into her, well, her inflated sense of her own abilities.
So Knightley really cuts through Emma's self-congratulation there.
Yeah.
That says a lot about their dynamic right from the start, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Sets a pattern.
And with that initial project, arguably debunked by Knightley, Emma quickly turns her attention elsewhere, to Harriet Smith.
Yes, her new project.
She sees Harriet as this beautiful creature needing only drawing out and very few hints to become graceful and easy. Emma is so convinced of Harriet's potential for a higher social standing that she just dismisses Mr. Robert Martin, the farmer who's interested in Harriet, calls him the very last sort of person to raise my curiosity. She even thinks of him as much above my notice as in every other he is below it.
Wow.
It's quite the statement.
Her conviction here really sets the stage for disaster, doesn't it?
It does, because with Harriet as her new canvas, Emma starts painting this vivid picture of Harriet's future, and it's centered on the vicar, Mr. Elton.
Right.
Emma is absolutely convinced Mr. Elton is falling for Harriet. She even takes on drawing Harriet's portrait.
Oh, the portrait scene. Yes. And she sees Mr. Elton's effusive admiration for the drawing as undeniable proof of his affection. For Harriet, that is. She thinks to herself, keep your raptures for Harriet's face.
What's so striking here is how she entirely misreads his behavior. The sources detail his intense attention to the drawing, how his admiration made him discern a likeness almost before it was possible.
Almost before it's possible, yes.
He even calls it a very enviable commission and talks about being the bearer of something exceedingly precious when he offers to take it to London for framing. And Emma just chalks all this gallantry up to his feelings for Harriet. But Austen is subtly showing us, through his excessive flattery, that his real target, well, it's Emma herself.
That misdirection culminates in a truly shocking moment, Mr. Elton proposes.
Not to Harriet.
Not to Harriet, to Emma. We see her utter astonishment as she realizes her most complete error. She cries out, "I am very much astonished, Mr. Elton, this to me. You forget yourself, you take me for my friend."
The indignation is just palpable. And Austen brilliantly uses Emma's internal monologue here, quoting her direct thoughts, to show us the roots of her prejudice.
Yes, it's very revealing.
Emma's thoughts are reeling. How could he possibly suppose himself her equal in connection or mind? Especially given that the Woodhouses, settled for generations at Hartfield, had superior fortune and consequence, while the Eltons, well, they were nobody just a couple of years back.
It's not just pride, is it? It's her deep-seated, almost inherited understanding of consequence in that society.
Exactly. Mr. Elton's presumption isn't just a social mistake. It's like a fundamental challenge to her world order.
Yeah.
She takes it as a personal affront, almost to her identity.
And this moment, it forces a painful but necessary self-correction for Emma. Her feelings are described as such an overthrow of everything she had been wishing for, such a development of everything most unwelcome, such a blow for Harriet.
Oof, that really hits home.
She recognizes her dreadfully blunders, feels this deep pain and humiliation, especially about the evil, as she puts it, to Harriet. She resolves then to destroy all the hopes which she had been so industriously feeding, and pledges to be humble and discreet and repressing imagination all the rest of her life. Promises to promote Harriet's comfort through methods better than by matchmaking.
It feels like a significant turning point, a genuine moment of humbling for her.
Yeah.
But the ripple effects of her actions aren't quite over yet, are they?
Not by a long shot, because shortly after this whole incident, Mr. Elton returns to Highbury with a new wife, Miss Hawkins, now Mrs. Elton.
Ah, Mrs. Elton, yes. Our sources paint her as quite the character, full of these conceited airs, constantly boasting about her connections to Maple Grove and her abundant resources.
Her arrival is just a brilliant literary device by Austen, because Mrs. Elton acts as this sort of mirror, reflecting some of Emma's own, maybe less overt, social snobbery.
That's interesting, a less subtle version.
Definitely less subtle. She insists Surrey is the Garden of England, proposes forming a musical club with Emma, even while claiming her own performance is mediocre to the last degree.
Oh, the false modesty, yes.
Yeah, and constantly referring to her husband as my lord and master. She is almost a caricature of social clombing. It compounds Emma's discomfort and serves as this jarring contrast to Emma's previous, very misguided expectations for Mr. Elton.
So Emma's grand matchmaking schemes have ended in spectacular misdirection. And then a new figure enters the scene, Mr. Frank Churchill, Mr. Weston's son.
Yes, the much-anticipated Frank Churchill.
And Emma, ever thinking of suitable connections, she initially considers him. Well, potentially for herself, right?
Absolutely. The sources note how the hope strengthened with every mention of his coming, especially encouraged by Mr. Weston's naturally sanguine temper, despite Mrs. Churchill's caprice often preventing Frank from actually traveling.
Right, the difficult aunt.
And Emma thinks that if she were to marry, he was the very person to suit her in age, character, and condition.
Ticks all boxes, at least on paper.
But this section reveals Frank Churchill's own mastery of misdirection. It's a fascinating parallel, actually, to Emma's own blind spots.
Oh, interesting parallel. How so?
Well, he appears to flirt quite openly with Emma, but it's all a carefully orchestrated deception. It's a mask for his true attachment to Jane Fairfax.
Wow, right.
His gallantry was a little self-willed, remember, when pushing for the ball at the Crown, and he makes these poignant comments about Jane Fairfax's playing and the piano coming from such a quarter.
Subtle digs, almost.
Exactly. And Austen cleverly uses those charades as a narrative device.
Yeah.
Like the word blunder, which causes that blush on Jane's cheek, and later Dixon. They're all clues hinting at his true affections for Jane, all while keeping his engagement secret from literally everyone else.
And Jane Fairfax, meanwhile, is just living this secret life of suffering, her seemingly cold, cautious, and reserved demeanor. It's all a facade, isn't it?
Completely. It's hiding her secret engagement to Frank Churchill. Her poor health, those daily trips to the post office, they're direct consequences of the immense stress of keeping this secret.
She even confesses to Mrs. Weston, "I have never known the blessing of one tranquil hour," and that her daily errand to the post office is because letters are no matter of indifference.
Imagine the strain.
And Emma, initially, she just perceives her as disgustingly, suspiciously reserved. She completely misses the real reason for Jane's guardedness.
It's another layer of misperception. The layers just keep building in this story. They reach a sort of peak at the ball, I think.
Oh, the ball at the Crown.
Yes.
Mr. Elton conspicuously avoids dancing with Harriet,
Painfully obvious.
leading to that delightful moment where Mr. Knightley, ever the gentleman, steps in and leads Harriet to the set.
A great Knightley moment.
Definitely. And then right after, there's the dramatic adventure with the gypsies. Harriet gets accosted.
And who should appear but Frank Churchill?
To dramatically rescue her, of course. And Harriet, naturally, is just overjoyed by Frank's heroic act. She describes it as a change from perfect misery to perfect happiness.
A bit dramatic, perhaps.
It's just a bit.
Yeah.
And she cherishes that piece of court plaster and a valuable paper she got from him as these precious mementos.
Mm-hmm.
And Emma, observing all this, she misinterprets Frank's motivations yet again. She sees his gallantry towards Harriet as genuine romantic interest. It just reinforces her belief that Harriet must be destined for someone of higher standing.
It's another perfect example of Emma projecting her own desires and expectations onto others. She just can't seem to help herself.
It seems not.
But the moment of truth, it finally arrives with Mrs. Churchill's death.
Right, that's the catalyst.
It's the pivotal event. It allows Frank Churchill to finally confess his long-held secret, his engagement to Jane Fairfax.
How does he do that?
He does it in a letter to Mrs. Weston, and he expresses deep remorse for his, quote, shameful conduct. He admits, "My behavior to Miss Woodhouse indicated, I believe, more than it ought. In order to assist a concealment so essential to me, I was led on to make more than an allowable use of the sort of intimacy into which we were immediately thrown."
So he acknowledges leading Emma on.
Explicitly. And he also acknowledges the uneasiness he caused Jane through it all.
This revelation about Frank and Jane, it feels like the real pivot point in the novel, doesn't it? More so than even the Elton proposal.
I think arguably yes, because Mrs. Churchill's death removes the external obstacle, the reason Frank gave for the secrecy. It forces everything out into the open.
And for Emma, it sparks this tremendous great awakening. It forces this painful but necessary understanding of her own misguided actions, especially towards Harriet.
Mm-hmm.
She realizes in that moment, Harriet was nothing, that she was everything herself. She sees the dreadful force of her own blindness and madness, thinks how improperly had she been acting by Harriet, how inconsiderate, how indelicate, how irrational, how unfeeling had been her conduct.
It's a brutal self-assessment.
Absolutely, and crucially, this moment reveals her true feelings. Her own happiness, she realizes, depended on being first with Mr. Knightley.
It's a powerful transformation indeed. But is it a complete transformation? Or do you think there's still maybe lingering elements of that earlier deluded Emma, even in this moment of clarity?
That's a great question. Maybe not entirely complete yet.
Yeah.
But it's huge progress.
It is. And this moment is also significant because it allows Emma to finally see Mr. Knightley clearly, too, to recognize his unwavering character as her, well, her moral compass.
Right.
The text says he had loved her and watched over her from a girl with an endeavor to improve her and an anxiety for her doing right. He's the only one who consistently calls her out on her faults. Remember that line? Not your vain spirit, but your serious spirit. If one leads you wrong, I am sure the other tells you of it.
Such a great line. And his steadfast character, it extends beyond Emma, too. He consistently supports Harriet and Mr. Robert Martin. He saw their worth when Emma absolutely did not.
Exactly. And we see the fruit of this clear-sightedness in Harriet's happy ending. Now she's finally free from Emma's misguided influence. Harriet accepts Mr. Robert Martin's proposal, and our sources even quote Mr. Knightley confirming his approval. He tells Emma that when Martin asked his advice about contacting Harriet, he couldn't mention anything more fit to be done than to go to Mrs. Goddard. I assured him that I could not.
It's a complete validation of Robert Martin's good sense and good principles, the very things Emma initially overlooked or dismissed.
Precisely. And so the combination of all this self-discovery and realignment, it brings us to Emma and Mr. Knightley's engagement.
Finally. But there's one last hurdle.
Mr. Woodhouse.
Mr. Woodhouse, still hating change of every kind.
Always. But Emma handles it wisely. She reassures her father, promises she was not going from Hartfield. She should be always there. She was introducing no change in their numbers or their comforts, but for the better.
And Mr. Knightley's steady presence, that helps soothe Mr. Woodhouse's fears too, presumably.
Gradually, yes.
Mrs. Weston is, of course, absolutely delighted. She sees the match as an increase of happiness to all and thinks Emma's choice of Mr. Knightley is so proper, suitable, and unexceptional a connection.
The perfect match in her eyes.
But not everyone is pleased naturally. Mrs. Elton, ever the social critic.
Oh, of course, she has to weigh in.
She views their living arrangements Knightley moving into heart filled with disdain. Comments. Shocking plan living together, it would never do.
Which just highlights that stark contrast, doesn't it, between genuine affection and happiness and those superficial societal judgments that Mrs. Elton represents. It's a masterful touch by Austen to conclude this part of the story.
It really is.
Austen's brilliance, which these sources really illuminate, lies in demonstrating that real clarity. Well, it rarely arrives as a gentle nudge.
No gentle nudges for Emma.
No. Instead, it's often born from these spectacular missteps. Emma's journey teaches us that the path to self-awareness isn't really about avoiding blunders, but about that painful, essential process of owning them and adjusting your worldview because of them.
This truly underscores how easily we can project our own desires onto others, doesn't it? Or interpret situations through a lens that just fits our existing narrative. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the most important nuggets of knowledge we gain, they're about our own blind spots, not just external facts.
Which really begs the question, doesn't it? How often do we, like Emma, believe we are expertly guiding situations or judging others only to discover our own profound blindness? Perhaps even mistaking, a simple lucky guess for some grand strategic success.
That's a thought to sit with. So what does this all mean for you listening? Next time you find yourself absolutely convinced you know what someone else is thinking, or maybe you're trying to orchestrate the perfect outcome for someone, perhaps just pause. Ask yourself, am I really seeing things as they are? Or am I, just maybe like Emma, shaping reality to fit my own cherished yet possibly mistaken design?